Coming up tonight, staggered start dates for students when schools gradually reopen after the holidays. Curious where Singapore's most expensive resale HDB flats are? Since 2012, over 300 of them have been sold for at least $1 million. But that can't be compared to how much someone was willing to pay for a ride into space with one of the world's richest men. Welcome to the Straits Times Newsnight. Good evening, I'm Dylan Ang. With school holidays ending in 2 weeks and COVID-19 restrictions easing, the Education Ministry has updates for students on when they can return to school for in-person lessons. Primary 1 to 3 pupils will now continue with a week of home-based learning until they return to school on July 6. They'll be joining their peers in P4 to P6 who go back slightly earlier on June 28th, the first day of the new term. For older students, those in Sec 1 and 2 will resume in-person classes on July 1st, while students in Sec 3 to 5, as well as JCs and Millennium Institute, will return to school once Term 3 starts. All students will be back in school from July 6. Education Minister Chan Chun Sing stressed that schools will continue to implement safe management measures. Posting on Facebook today, he also said the student vaccination program is making good progress. Close to 90% of students have signed up for their jabs, and 1 in 3 have received their first dose. Hey, we didn't forget that it's the first day of Phase 3 heightened alert. With people allowed to once again hang out in fives, larger groups were seen in parks and malls, like Jurong Lake Gardens and Vivo City, which ST visited today. There was a returning demand for beauty services such as facials, where customers have to remove their masks. Now, following the confirmation of a new cluster at Block 115 Bukit Merah View Market and Food Centre, 85 storeholders at Block 116 underwent mandatory swab tests earlier today. Now, this was done at a temporary site at Block 125A. Meanwhile, the Block 115 Food Centre will reopen tomorrow after being closed since Sunday for cleaning. But with a cluster reported there, some Block 116 store owners said they weren't too worried about getting COVID-19, but they were concerned about overall business in the vicinity, which has already been falling amid the pandemic.
现在反正是影响到一点点了，然后就是讲怕传染到自己哦，还有朋友哦、同事他们这样子啦。
多多少少会啦，38%是这样。
没办法，一定这个我们看疫情也讲了，我们大家要合作比较好。
25 new infections were confirmed, with 18 in the community. Now, one case was also found within the migrant worker dorms. These 19 locally transmitted cases are the highest since June 3rd, and 6 imported cases were also reported. Now, with million-dollar HDB flats making the headlines recently, here's something you might not know. Half of Singapore's 24 towns have them, according to official HDB data. While the Pinnacle at Duxton may be the poster boy for such flats, they are not exclusively located in the central area, with 388 units spread across 11 mature estates like Ang Mo Kio, Bishan, Bukit Merah, Bukit Timah, Clementi, Geylang, Queenstown, Serangoon and Toa Payoh. And not forgetting a maisonette at Block 851 Hougang Central, which is still the only flat in a non-mature estate to hit the 1 million mark. Currently, the central area takes the top spot with $118 million flats, all transactions coming from the Pinnacle at Duxton on Cantonment Road. In second place is Bishan with 74 units, with the majority coming from Natura Loft at Bishan Street 24. Queenstown is third with 55 units. E-bike or e-scooter riders, you must pass a mandatory online theory test by the end of this year if you want to keep using your devices in public spaces. The Land Transport Authority announcing today that there will be different tests for each vehicle, and the passing score for both tests is 80%. Those who pass will receive a digital certificate with no expiry date. The test will be rolled out on July 1st before enforcement kicks in January. Let's take a look at what's trending on social media today. It's the end of an era for one of the most recognizable faces in Korean TV. Lee Kwang-soo bids farewell to Running Man after 11 years. One of the original cast members, the lanky host, had announced his imminent exit back in April because of an ankle injury sustained last year, which gave him trouble in keeping up with the physical demands of Running Man despite physical therapy. Thousands took to the show's Facebook page to leave him messages, thanking him for the many laughs and memories. One fan even said she's not sure she will be able to keep watching, since the dynamic is probably going to change too much without the hilarious banter he brings that keeps me entertained and watching. And how much would you pay to rocket into space with one of the world's richest men? Someone was willing to fork out $28 million after an intense online auction that started at just under $5 million.
Is sold $28 million to number 107.
And that wrapped up the month-long bidding process for July's sightseeing voyage on Bezos' Blue Origin rocket ship. And if you want to find out who the mystery bidder is, who will be on Bezos' traveling companions, Blue Origin said the name will be released in the coming weeks. An eventful weekend at the Euros that showed why football is indeed a unifying sport, like what happened at Wembley when England players continued their anti-racism stance in their match with Croatia. And although that taking a knee gesture was initially booed by a minority of their fans, the jeers were quickly drowned out by cheers and applause. The Three Lions went on to take the victory 1-0 with Raheem Sterling finding his tournament touch in a 61st minute goal. And over in Copenhagen, Danish midfielder Christian Eriksen is stable after suffering from a cardiac arrest during Denmark's opening game against Finland. In agonizing scenes, the 29-year-old collapsed just before halftime and was later rendered emergency medical treatment on the pitch before being taken to hospital. A heartwarming moment as fans of both nations chanted his name in unison. Have a listen. A quick look at tonight's games. Currently underway is the match between Scotland and the Czech Republic. Poland and Slovakia, as well as Spain and Sweden, face off later tonight. It's hard to miss this one because the fashion police have been in a frenzy over this collaboration since it was announced last week. Yes, these are Crocs with a heel, courtesy of its collab with luxury brand Balenciaga. And people are expected to pay as much as $1,000 for a pair. Now, part of Balenciaga's Spring-Summer 2022 collection, the stiletto comes in black or bright green. Social media has a lot to say about it, with many calling it a fashion abomination. But if the past collabs between the two brands are anything to go by, I'm almost certain these will be sold out in no time. That wraps up the Straits Times Newsnight. Do visit straitstimes.com to see more news and videos. Now you can also subscribe to our YouTube channel by hitting the button below. Keep safe and I'll see you tomorrow.